Hey folks, it's Jeff Gotthelf. Let's talk this week about how to visualize any transformation story. What I mean by transformation story is the narrative that you're going to put forward to try to get your team or your organization to implement a new way of working, a new process, a new methodology, etc., right? To get folks to resist the change less and increase its chance of success. Telling folks a compelling story helps them understand why we're doing this and what benefits they may see. And so I want to talk you through an exercise that I do when I have to tell those stories to my clients. And we're going to walk through how to visualize that transformation story so that you can put forward the most compelling narrative when it comes to driving change in your organization. Now, to do that, we are going to start first and foremost with the current state of things. There is a very famous TED Talk. It's a book, certainly from Simon Sinek, called Start With Why. And you've probably seen the TED Talk associated with it. And really, the core point here is accurate. If you're going to make a transformation succeed, telling people why we're doing this is absolutely critical. So let's talk about them. When we start to actually think about how to get folks to come along on this journey with us, we have to describe the current state. So what's currently happening today, right? So as we start to visualize our story, one of the things that we absolutely want to do is start to think through, let me get my face out of the way here a little bit. There we go. All right. One of the things that we absolutely want to do is start to really think through the current state of things. So what are people actually doing today, right? Maybe we are, slow to respond to market changes, right? Maybe, there is, we don't know how effective our work is in the market. So, right, when we ship stuff, we don't actually know what's happening. Maybe there is poor communication between disciplines, right? So the designers aren't talking to the engineers aren't talking to the product managers. Maybe, the current incentives or success criteria, prioritizes the wrong work, right? Things like that. That's the current, what's happening today that we don't like, the things that we're actually trying to change. And as we start to kind of identify those things, we start to ground our conversation in, today's state is suboptimal. And then we want to talk about, okay, great, that's what's happening today, but why is that suboptimal? Why do we care about that, right? So just because that's happening, well, we care about that because, our competition, always gets to market ahead of us. It feels like, by the time we launch anything new, our customers have moved on. Maybe it's costing us a lot of money in lost time or productivity to get teams aligned, right? So if our teams aren't talking to each other, it's costing us time. Like, these are the kinds of things that are the sort of the symptoms of the current state, right? So this is why we care about this. Those are the issues. And if we get to the final part of the narrative, right, as we start to anchor this, why do we care about that? We care about that because it reduces the quality of our hiring brand, for example. Our value proposition isn't reaching the market. Maybe something as more basic as we're not profitable. That could be an option as well, but this is why we care about this stuff. And so as we start to paint a picture of the transformation we'd like to see happen, we want to talk about the current state of things. We want to talk about the issues that are caused by that, what's happening today, and then ultimately, why do we care about that? What's the negative impact to the organization that is really a problem, the thing we're trying to fix, okay? So then we're going to go to the other side of the story. If we start with the current state, then let's talk about the future state. So we start to visualize this story arc, right? This narrative. Let's talk about the future state. So in a future state, right, what do things look like? Well, in the future state, we have no silos to our communication. across the company, something along those lines. Maybe in a future state, we can respond to market changes at market speed. We are increasingly more efficient at delivering our product or service or whatever value to market, right? Those are the various things like in the future state. Maybe we are increasingly more customer focused rather than feature, product, or executive focused, right? These are the kinds of things that maybe happen in the future state, right? If we fix the current state, what does the future state look like? Which is really great. Cool. If we did that, why? Why is this better? It's better because we have a better sense of what our customers need at any given time. Maybe we're better at meeting customer needs more quickly. Maybe morale in the organization goes up, and because of that, perhaps retention goes up, hiring brand improves, etc. Right? So these are kind of the benefits, and terrific. And so if this is the future state from the current state, and these are the benefits that we get, what do we actually expect people to be doing differently, right? Well, maybe we every project starts with a persona and a problem to solve. Maybe every initiative has a cross-functional team working on it. Maybe we have regular, frequent touch points with the customer, right? All these types of things that maybe we don't have today, but certainly this is something that we'd like to do in the future as well, right? So this is what we're kind of putting together. Let me just kind of zoom out just a second here so you can see everything. But the idea as we're starting to visualize this transformation story is we're starting with our current state over here on the left, right? What's happening today? Why is that suboptimal? What's the impact it's having on the organization? And then we look at the other side and we're saying, well, in the future, if we solve for that, what does that look like, right? And why is that good? And we know that it's happening when we see people doing these specific things in the future, right? Now, what's interesting is we've got that arc. And so in the middle, the part that we've sort of left out as part of this conversation is this is where your transformation idea goes. As we're starting to paint this story or this story arc, this is where these ideas go, right? Anything that you want to implement to improve from the current state to the future state. So for example, and let's just make this a different color just for funsies. That's a good color right there. This could be something like objectives and key results, right? My favorite topic these days. Maybe we want to implement objectives and key results. That's one idea that we'd like to get in there. Maybe one of the things, maybe agile ways of working we want to put in there, or increasingly more agile ways of working. Maybe one of the ideas we want to put in here is, cross-functional squads on every initiative, something like that. Maybe it's not just it's a way of working or a process. Maybe it's a new policy we'd like to put into place that says something like, mandatory 2 monthly hours of customer contact for every employee, right? Any idea that we have about changing, and any new idea that we have can go in here, and we can do this for a while, and then what happens here, right, as we start to sort of zoom out, and let's just assume, for example, that OKRs is the thing that we're going to actually figure out here, right? Let me just make that a bit brighter. So we've selected that one, right? We're going to go with this. What we can do as we zoom out is now we can start to really visualize that narrative for this idea, right? If we're going to tell a compelling story to the organization, we can literally start to draw lines from these to each other, right? So if we take this pencil tool, which is a fantastic tool. Let me just make sure what color it's black. Okay, right? And we say, look, we don't know, right, if our work is effective, and we're prioritizing the wrong work. That's our current state. And the reason why we care about that is because we're just taking us a long time to get folks aligned. By the time we launch anything, it doesn't even make sense anymore. And so our value proposition isn't reaching the market, right? So we're starting to kind of piece together the foundations of the story arc. Here's the kind of the hero's journey, right? We start here and the hero is going to end up in a positive state. Terrific. And we're going to deal with all of these, right? We've got this idea called objectives and key results, right? And so we're going to use that. We believe this is our process hypothesis, right? Or a way of working hypothesis. We believe that this is a new way of working, a new method in this particular case, that's going to help us alleviate some of the concerns of the current state. And if we're right, we should be able to see an increase in market reaction time, and we're more efficient at delivering value to market, and we're increasingly more customer focused, which means we meet their needs more quickly, morale goes up, and what do we hope to see happening to tell us that this is actually working is that every project starts with a persona and a problem to solve, something along those lines, right? So ideally, right, if all of this is working, this is what's happening, right? And by just kind of going through this visualization process, right, just going through this particular process, you've now started to build that story arc, right? We're starting here in this state. There's an issue, it's suboptimal, and this is the impact it's having on the company, right? We've got a hypothesized solution for it, whatever it is, right? This new process, way of working, methodology, however we want to transform the company. And if we're right, this is what the future looks like. This is why you should invest in this, right? This is why this is meaningful to you as an employee, as a leader, as an executive in this, right? And if we're successful, this is how we hope people's behavior will change in the future. And now you can kind of break this up into slides or a video or a presentation or a story, a 6-page memo, whatever it is that you want to help your folks get a better sense of why you'd like to implement this change, this transformation. I hope that was helpful. Let me know what you thought. Any questions in the comments as well, and we'll see you next time.